Welcome everyone to the Watchlist, your virtual weekly TV guide right here on the Latin Nerds Network, ready to go over all the shows, documentaries, films released on streaming over the past week, and of course at the end of the show letting you know what's coming out so you too can create your very own watch list. Of course, ready to give our best recommendations or non-recommendations as the case may be. Help us out here today is Senor Jaime, aka Chewy, what it is, what it was, what it shall be.
Under 100 days of Comic Con. That's all I got to say.
Chewy's very excited for Comic Con, and why wouldn't he not be? We're all excited for Comic Con, all the good news and all that goodness. Didn't he just have the Star Wars thing the other day? I don't know.
Yes, in Japan. So there's a lot of news dropping over the last few days. Some we knew, some we didn't know. Obviously, I think I was so many announcements, but it's very limited as far as what they announced. But the Ahsoka season 2 cast was there, and they confirmed our
Yeah,
favorite Hayden Christensen is back. Oh, come
yeah,
on, dudes, don't hate this shit, dude.
whatever.
We had footage from Mandalorian and Grogu. It was pretty cool. Visions season 3 coming out later this year. And so
And
it's
the new movie finally announced.
oh yeah, Starlight or Starlighter,
Starfighter, I think it's what it is.
Starfighter.
Starfighter.
Sorry, with Ryan Gosling. But there've been rumors about that. As far as him on the being hired for our Star Wars movie, so no big surprise there. But yeah,
Yeah,
um,
an official date is confirmed, so that's always
yes, yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
makes it
27.
makes it more real, I guess. That doesn't say it can't be canceled because we know how Star
Well,
Wars
I
rolls,
mean, yeah,
but there's a date. They also said
yeah,
they told us the same thing with Ray, and look where that movie's going.
yeah. I mean, with Kathleen Kennedy, nothing is
And it's
guaranteed.
all
So,
on the table, baby. That said, we'll go back to the TV stuff. A lot of releases this week. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We're here every Sunday to let you know what you should be
well,
watching.
but
There's always
let's
something
talk
to
about what
watch.
ended first, man.
Guess
I
we'll talk
mean,
about what
come on.
ended before we get to that. But yeah, don't forget to subscribe. Hit the comment button as well. Hit the like. But True, what did end this week?
Dude, Daredevil Born Again.
Yeah, well, I had previously discussed it. Yeah, that was it. Born Again did, and
So did it stick the landing for you? I know you're gonna complain, so go ahead.
yes and no.
Okay.
The episode itself is entertaining, but we talk about, I'm not talking about Eric about this in Nurse, but things that every show needs to have some resolution, and this show had nothing resolved. It was all one huge setup for season 2. Um, Good shows just don't do that. You have to resolve something at least, and then open a door to something new, right?
Well,
Nothing.
yes and no. I mean,
Nothing.
it depends on.
Well, most show, I mean, there's some kind of conflict. Maybe not all gets resolved, but something gets resolved for the most part. And then we continue. This show didn't resolve anything, so it's like, okay, so just a huge setup for season 2 is what this whole season was. In and of itself, the episode was cool. It's visceral, it's entertaining. Um,
Hey, man, you can't. The Punisher is always entertaining, dude.
Punisher's great, but ultimately, the story standpoint, that the show was not good. You could have taken out 4 episodes out of this whole season, and then one kind of long season or even a movie for that matter, and instead of for a sequel, right? Um, but it's fine. I mean, given that the low point of that plus the high point of the visceral stuff, it's kind of right in the middle for me. Ultimately, not a bad show at all, but not the Daredevil I was wanting to get or what we've been used to via Netflix. But I think it's set up where it could be down the road. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, so I mean, yeah, there was obviously you could notice the differences where they changed direction, right? Where they, because I think that the first episode was a complete redo
Mm-hmm.
versus I think it originally was just going to be an off-screen mention of some kind as far as why he
Right.
doesn't have not wearing, he's not Daredevil, right, per se.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously the last 2 episodes were completely new. So there's, I don't want to say it's disjointed, but you can see obviously where things change.
Yeah.
And obviously, the writer strike happened in between all this as well. So that probably helped because if not, it would have gone down that middle section path
Oh,
of not that it
disaster.
was bad, it's not Law and Order, but it was not Daredevil that we
Right.
wanted, right?
Yeah, it would have
That
been
we liked.
disaster. Would have been a disaster like that.
Yeah,
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 for
yeah.
sure.
No Punisher,
Yeah.
no Carry, no
No.
nothing. And so, but okay, so but the powers of gods that be, things happen, things change. So great. And so I liked obviously it had the violence that we were used
The
to and
violence was
the
great.
action that we saw.
Cool. Right.
Not that we're pro violence on the show, obviously,
Oh, I am,
but
dude.
at
Bring
least
it on, dude. Let's do this
in our fantasy
in our fantasy.
entertainment,
Correct. Yes, of
yes,
course,
yes. Not that
absolutely.
we advocate let's go and perform violence of this nature, of any nature, for
Agreed.
that matter.
Agreed. Of course.
But to get in my show where we can, like when I play a video game, right? I can kill 100 people, but I'm not. It's just make believe.
Yeah.
So we got that in spades. We got characters. We had, I think, a good arc where at least they showed they didn't they laid the groundwork for the transition, right, of what happened and their metamorphosis, right. That's key to any good
Mhm.
show. There has to be a metamorphosis of the character, of their persona, of their mission somehow. And so coming off, obviously season, I call this season four.
It's season
Coming
four.
off season
Yeah.
three and where things left off, and obviously they couldn't, show everything, but they threw in explanations, and they in a way that made sense, right? I don't think they took necessary shortcuts were appropriate, but then explain things and show things were necessary, and still stuck to who he is, and obviously who the kingpin is, right? And so that was good, catharsis to see that. And I was surprised with some of the things with his wife and stuff, and there were some scenes there. They were like, "Oh shit, damn, he's still a bad guy." So that was good. And yeah, that was they laid a lot of groundwork, but they obviously introduced new characters as well, right? The new we would assume the new White Tiger. I hope, maybe, I don't know, why, especially the way things set up. But they weren't afraid to kill people, aka Foggy and the other White Tiger. I mean, like I said, they took spins on things, and they left everything on the table, so no one was really
Well,
safe except for
yeah.
obviously the two main
Yeah, well, it was
characters.
easy to kill white tiger because, of course, God forbid a Latino gets any kind of any
Stop it!
justice at
Stop it!
all in any show for that matter. Even I'll mention,
Hey, hey, they killed the commission. He was white, dude. Come on, dude.
that's
Come
fine,
on.
but it's 1,000 white guy ones make a difference. You got one Latino guy and he
Oh,
died.
Jesus. You
I,
never
I'm I'm just
satisfied.
saying this. We had like one guy.
Hey,
There's
hey,
one guy for you
Muse,
know.
Muse was white. Come on, dude. Come
It's,
on. Come on.
like I said, there's a
Come
lot of
on.
white people in the show. You have to kill somebody. There's only one Latino. You can keep him.
But so overall, it was more hit than miss. I thoroughly enjoyed,
Yeah, like I
watching it
said,
week to
each
week.
episode
And
in a vacuum, not each episode, but the majority were good in itself. Just as the
yeah.
story as a whole is where I kind of just it's
And
kind of
I
up and
think
down, story
they
wise.
did a better job than most shows of kind of threading this universe within the greater MCU, right? Which has always been an issue. I
Yeah,
like to they didn't rely on it, but they didn't ignore it as most other shows have,
yeah.
where it was like, what happened here? What about what happened at this movie and that one? And so, like, I think the one that sticks out is the Funko Pop. That's Miss Marvel was hilarious, too. Uh,
Funny, but yeah,
and bringing some guy, and bringing the guy who was in Hawkeye, the sword guy. Like I said, kind of threading pieces, but not making them
right.
essential to the underlying storyline. Right, it's still revolved around Daredevil and the guys and the people that surrounded him for the most part in his immediate orbit. Right, so that was good.
Yeah, like I said it was not a bad show, not at all. It just with all that happened, and it was, I guess what we got was as good as it was gonna get, right? With all the circumstances and the reshoots and all that, and
Yeah.
the strikes. It was gonna be kind of messy, and it was what it was, right? But that's something I got more hopes with season two,
Oh
given what
yeah,
we see now.
absolutely,
So yeah, hopefully,
absolutely. I mean, I think they set up beautifully with not trying to resolve it, because I mean, if he resolved it, he was toast, right? Like, look at Frank Castle, right? I mean, he tried to go one against a thousand, and then look what happened. Even he's not,
yeah,
superhuman
just
tampoco.
he's still the Punisher. Come on, that's kidding. Well, thank God he's white. He's
Come on,
survived.
man.
Otherwise, he probably would have killed in the
Oh,
first second.
Jesus Christ!
I'm
Here
just
we
saying,
go
even
again,
like,
dude.
like Dope Thief, real quick. We'll talk about that when it ends next week. But the only Latino character, the main one, gets killed. Oh, here we go, dude. I'm just saying,
I
there's
know,
lack
dude.
of respect.
I
Dude.
know.
I thought Apple Plus was immune to this. Clearly, they're not. But that said, let's move on to what came out this week. I got Justice right here. We'll start with a couple of documentaries. First one, The Diamond Heist, produced by Guy Ritchie, of course, is giving his Mobland, really cool show on Paramount. This was a three-part series, obviously based off the events leading up to an actual attempt at the heist of hundreds of millions worth of diamonds or whatever, and somewhere in London. And interesting, because the first episode you focus on one of the guys who planned the heist, right? events leading up to
Well,
it.
well, well, well. Let's go back. It was they did do a heist, but their goal was another heist
Oh,
later
sure,
on because they
right.
remember.
It begins with the talking about the previous heist, kind of setting it up and who
Yes.
his crew was and how kind of these guys were ingenious in terms of how they approach some of this stuff, leading up, and then they discovered new heists they could make, and had a big score or whatever, and preparing the crew and the planning. The second episode now focusing on the authorities who were kind of onto him and getting their perspective of how they were trying to stop him. Of course, in the third episode where it all kind of comes to a head. This is very entertaining, man. I really like this one a lot. 3 episodes. Enjoy. I love a good heist and to see the actual real world planning. You're like, man, this sounds like something out of a movie. And what they decided to do, particularly in that very first heist and the contraption he built to kind of open up an armored truck. I've never seen
Mm.
anything like that. Fascinating. Letting this guys were legit, like serious about it. And then the stuff they decided to do is ballsy. And then I think those are gonna go to the side of the authorities and them tracking them at the same time. I thought that was interesting too, getting their perspective as far as like, okay, how are we gonna stop them? Trying to check every box, make sure what are contingencies and the safety of people in this location. It's like some kind of a dome that they built out there, some touristy thing, and so
Well, as far as that celebration, I
yeah,
think it was in the early two
yeah, yeah,
thousands for at least for that original diamond. And so yeah, it was part of some sort of exhibitions. I can't remember what it
yeah.
was, but they mentioned
Yeah,
it.
so there's gonna be a lot of people,
Um,
tourists inside the facility during the
yeah.
heist, and of course during the attempt to capture these guys. So very cool, very entertaining. I enjoyed it, so definitely on the list. Chewy.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. Had a definite Guy Ritchie spin or
Mm.
flair to it. What was funny is did you stick on for the after credits after the third
Yeah,
episode?
that was
So
funny.
I mean,
Yeah,
obviously, we're gonna spoil it, whatever, is it because it's not essential. But the original heist at the diamond was not a heist after all, because it was a
yeah,
fake, and they were worried about something happening, and so they did the old switcheroo. The owners did the switcheroo, so the on display was
a
a fake.
fugazi, if you call it.
Yeah, and the original one was kept, secretly hidden away or whatever. And they revealed that, and the Robert didn't know
Yeah.
up this whole time, and they tell him, he's like, "What the?"
That was pretty funny. That was a nice little twist in the end there. Yeah,
That was nice,
yeah.
nice little surprise little nugget
Yeah,
there.
that was cool
So
because they didn't mention that at all, and I kept thinking, why didn't you switch to diamond? But obviously they did. So okay, there you go. But very cool. It's very interesting and very entertaining as far as documentaries are concerned. The other one, the docu-film about the Oklahoma City bombing, happened back in '95. Timothy
yes.
McVeigh, that's the name I couldn't think of last week. The guy who was convicted of this one. Obviously, it's about an hour 20 some minutes, focusing on the day of course, the explosion at the federal building in Oklahoma City, killing hundreds of people, including some kids. There was no daycare in the facility. The authorities, the first respondents, actually one of the survivors actually spoke to it as
Mhm.
well. Just fascinating. The news anchors at the time, and the fortuitous nature of McVeigh's capture, I was not aware of that. It's kind of he was.
Well, I forgot
Oh well,
about
yeah.
that.
If I remember you about it, it's been a while. It's been almost 30 years, but it's been a while. But how he was captured and he almost slipped through the fingers right at the last moment. Listen, it's if you don't know about it, it's interesting. I enjoyed it. I thought making a docu film was the right way to go, so they didn't go too dry. But it was cool hearing from those who were actually there and the horrors of that and seeing the building and even the explosion. That it's crazy. It's just very powerful. Chew your thoughts.
No, like I said, there's been several. I think there
I'm
was a
sure they
couple
have.
of
Yeah.
shows
Yeah.
or dramatizations on, I want to say, Stars or Showtime. I think first it started with the excuse me, because this is all linked to the
Yeah.
Waco,
Yeah.
uh,
The heist unit. Yeah.
uh, yeah, storming of the Waco compound and the Branch Davidians and those crazy fucks, uh, conspiracy theorists. And so he was actually there, actually, not inside, but kind of from the outside. But he was already involved with these militia nut
Mm.
jobs and whatnot. So kind of been down this path. But yeah, like I think the way in the format it was good because it's not meant to be a complete
Right.
retelling, right? But just giving us a perspective and kind of okay, don't forget that this actually happened. This is fairly, well, I don't say fairly recent, but it's within our lifetimes, right? Where we remember
Mm.
this alive of when this happened and what the impact was because this all happened relatively around the same time. Ruby Ridge, and then Waco, and then finally
Yeah.
this what happened here, and some of the I guess ultra MAGA Nazi fucks who are behind this whole thing, really, because it wasn't just a man, right? It's never just a man, right? He's always it's influence gets someone, there's always a scapegoat,
Yeah.
right? And so you find a dupe, you feed him a bunch of shit, he believes you, you finance it, and then you just light the fuse and let him do what he does.
And
Essentially,
let's
that's
look
what
at the
it
results,
was.
right? He was ex-military,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
disgruntled
Him
military.
and his and Nichols who helped him. Yeah,
Yeah.
they were the same Marine or Army unit, I
Yeah, I
believe.
think there was a snitch in the end. Snitches get stitches, man. Um, Stupid, I swear to God. Always a snitch. But yeah, like I said, it was very cool watching. It's funny because it released on the 18th, which was the day before the actual anniversary, which is on the 19th of the event of
Yes.
the movie. Well, I think now 20 years, 30 years to a day after 30 years.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
30 years,
Yeah,
30 years
so it
now.
makes
Yeah.
sense why they release it on a Friday. Usually these shows get released like on Tuesday, Wednesday.
Mhm.
Next one, the film, sticking with Netflix, I Hostage. It's another true story based on a true story, true events. I believe in Amsterdam. This one here about a hostage situation inside an Apple store. I keep saying ice store, an Apple store. It's a low man goes in there, machine guns, helps people. It's funny because he wants to hold people hostage. Everyone leaves except for one guy. Apparently, I don't know why the guy just didn't leave with everyone else. Whatever. And of course, they're trying to negotiate an escape and wants money, etc., etc. True, your thoughts on this one?
No, I didn't
Oh,
catch it. I just
fair enough. No,
yeah.
it was fine. It wasn't actually that bad.
Okay.
I think it's an Amsterdam. I don't know what show, whatever it was, but
I thought it was
is it
Sweden, but
Sweden? Maybe
maybe
Sweden. It might be
might have
Sweden.
been
I
might
could
have
have sworn
been
I saw him.
yeah.
Could be Meyer.
Okay.
But it was fine. Short to the point. A lot of tension. Actually, was actually better. Was better than I thought it was going to be. Right. If you guys looking for something kind of on the side, I'll recommend it. We've seen worse Netflix films for sure. Next one here. I Am Not Mendoza. Again, sticking with Netflix. Series Mexican, I think. About a man.
I don't know if
Well,
Mexican
I think it's part
or
Colombian, part Mexican, from what I read earlier. Right?
yeah, because they yeah, okay, that's what I thought. It
Yeah.
wasn't completely
No, it
full
wasn't full Mexican.
Mexican.
And I think it's a young man who gets sequestered, to pretend to be this other guy Mendoza. Kind of a switch, and
Bait
yeah,
and
bait and switch
switch.
on that one. I actually didn't get a chance to see this. I had forgotten about it, and I said, "Let me put the trailer." And I was like, I don't think I can do this." So true, I don't know. Did you get a
No,
chance to see it?
you can't.
Oh,
You
okay, good. So I
can't.
made the right choice. Made the right choice. Okay.
It's
It looked goopy. Yeah.
it's telenovela
Oh, okay.
lights, 40 episodes.
40?
So it's a
Oh my
yeah,
god.
yes.
Well, then there we go.
It's the whole season. That's what I say. It's like you will not have.
Oh, no.
This is not your cup
No,
of tea
no.
by any stretch of
Even if it was good,
imagination.
I can't do 40 episodes at once. This is not going to
No,
happen.
no, no, no. Well, yeah, you
Uh,
can't because it's
Come
like I
on.
said, it's like a telenovela. It's
Okay.
traditional Latin shows where they really it's these episodes. It's not seasons. They do the whole story from
Okay.
beginning to
Oof.
end,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And think of the ones Colombian ones that we've liked, right?
Hmm.
Pedro Escamoso, Betty La Fea. You get the whole
Yeah.
thing. You don't get season one, season two,
Gotcha. Right,
jazz.
right, right.
So this is 40 episodes. So not your cup of
I
tea,
didn't think so.
and like it's if you're not into it, it's hard to
Yeah,
recommend
I
because
figured when I saw
it's
that trailer,
yeah.
I'm like, this look okay. I'm gonna stay off and see what you say about it. So okay, fair enough. So I guess if you like telenovelas, I guess this is one. I guess you could try checking out. But next one, Apple Plus, who's been on a high note as of late, right? They've been killing it, man. Apple Plus, Government Cheese. This is a quirky show about it takes place in the '60s, in the late '60s, '69, I think. Man who's in prison. He gets out, and now he's trying to make right with his family and his kids, who are, of course, estranged to some degree, unhappy about his situation. He's, found Jesus now. He's trying to forge a new path. And creates what is it, like a self sharpening
A self sharpening drill.
drill, whatever.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, an adapter, right? Because it
Well,
goes with
yeah,
drill, but
exactly. It's going to be his
yeah,
claim to fame at
it's
that point. And he's trying to
yeah.
get off the ground, but then, of course, he still owes a lot of money to the wrong people. So he kind of self falling back to his old ways out of necessity. This is a weird show, man. It gave us 4 episodes, which concerned me. Apple really does that. This,
4 episodes? I thought it was just two.
it
I guess I
Yeah,
missed.
it dropped 4. It dropped 4.
Oh crap! All
Um,
right. Well, I didn't
yeah, it was
realize
like the
that.
first one was like a little bit like 40 minutes. The other one was like 25, 30. So they're short. But they did drop 4. And this one, I think if you like the Coen brothers, of which I'm not huge fans of, to be honest with you, it's not my brand of humor. you may enjoy it because it's very quirky and offbeat at times. Um, it just quite wasn't for me. I saw the fours. Let me see where this goes, and I'm just maybe I finish it, maybe I don't. But if you're not a Coen Brothers kind of fan, if you're familiar with that kind of work, I would say stay away. If you love Coen Brothers, this may be up your alley. And I'll leave it at that, Chewy.
No, I think it's okay. I only saw two. I didn't realize it was
Yeah,
four. But after two, I have a good feel for if this is something I enjoy or not. And it was middle of the road.
yeah.
It's I don't know what it was trying to what it was trying to say. What's the moral
It's
story
weird. It
here?
really is. I'm saying
Yes.
it's unconventional. That's the right word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, Apple's been on a high, and this is not part of that.
This
That
could be a miss. I don't know.
this I
I
think
don't
this
know.
is a even if it shows okay, it's kind of a miss considering what they've given us lately. Friends and neighbors.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying that one. Dope Thief and of course Severance recently. The studio keeps killing it, of course, because that show's just
Hmm.
that good. This is just not part of that. It really isn't. Like I say, if you have a plus, there's other shows to watch on there. Yeah,
Watch for that flying
yeah.
burrito, dude.
Flying burritos are dangerous, man. They're cause many act. We see the Hollywood bombing of the burrito on the Netflix documentary pretty soon. But yeah, so yeah, this is not one of the better shows at all. Not to say it's bad, but it's like I said, it's different. I'll give it that, right? I get taking the swing, but
Yeah, but different, and it's not different. It has to
right, it
be
has to be
good. It
good,
can't be
right? Right.
just
Like I said,
different,
I
just
appreciate the
to
swing. I do respect that, but
yeah.
again, you gotta hit the ball. You know what I'm saying? You're striking out. This doesn't quite work. So, the last one, they got the Last of Us season premiere at HBO, of course, and the Sunday marquee show lineup. Dropping one episode, of course, gonna be seven this year. 5 years later from the events of the first film. So
There's a 5 year
yeah,
jump after. I mean, it picks up
well, it
literally
shows you
right
the
when the
last scene,
first season
right?
dropped
The
off,
last scene of the first season.
and then they gave us a little
Mm-hmm.
epilogue, right, of what's to come, and then they do the 5 year
Right,
jump.
5 year jump, exactly. And so it was a good episode, not a great one because I think it was setting up a lot. So it almost felt like the first episode of the entire series, right? Which is just setting the table because 5 years is a long time. So they kind of have to
Hmm.
re-engage everyone of where we're at, right? With the world that they're in now, as opposed to where they started, the first season, introducing now the other faction, which I thought was a really good change. Them doing, I think that we have the other character who's strongly involved in the video game, Abby, who his father was one of the doctors that Joel killed when he saved Ellie. Uh, the,
Oh, I didn't realize it was the doctor. All right,
yeah,
because
yeah.
then
The
okay,
doctor ties in there. So obviously she's very upset, and now she's on a path of vengeance. At that point,
yeah,
um, a lot of
which is not going to end
it's
well.
not going to
Yeah.
end well, and that for me solidified what I thought they may stray away from on the show, right? Which would have been a ballsy move. I'm glad they're sticking to the path because it's incredibly impactful, and I can see this really hitting home. And this is probably going to happen in episode 3, 4 at best, maybe
Okay.
even earlier. Because it
Okay.
happens.
I mean, they kind of laid this out because I just rewatched well, we were watching season
Mm-hmm.
one at the same time, and so we had season five that dealt with the Henry storyline in Kansas City, right? And so they kind of play with that. Although in one episode where vengeance goes too far,
Mm-hmm.
and I think if you remember the episode is the one where they're trying to escape Kansas City, they're at the end. There's a sniper here. They killed the sniper, but they're calling people, and they were so hell bent on finding Henry at all costs, no matter what, that it literally cost them all their lives for that. They couldn't
Couldn't
let
let it
it
go.
go, right? They had won. They taken their vengeance, and one little piece they couldn't let it go. And when you can't let things go, it never ends well.
Exactly, and I think what the game and this season is going to focus on is the perspective from both sides, right? Because Joel is technically the bad guy here, right? And I think they would emphasize that in the therapist scene, which is a new scene.
Well, I
Because
mean,
I mean,
good and
good and
bad
bad
is
because I
such
mean it's a
a
fine line, right?
gray
Right, and
area.
you get a perspectives from
It's
those,
great
yeah,
because it's always from and like I said, I mean, there is absolutes, but this is a world where there is no law and order anymore, right? So, society has literally collapsed in the course of a weekend, and what's come out of it is this mishmash of pseudo government, pseudo fascism, pseudo survival, to go out on your own, right? And so when someone comes at you or you're perceiving a threat, how are you supposed to respond, right? When they're about to kill. his pseudo daughter, right? What are you supposed to do? Now they take it too far, probably because they did show scenes where the people would lay their guns down and he still killed them anyway. So I'm not saying he's good, but was the original intent was to save her? What would you do?
Right.
Right? That's the
I
question
think
they're
that,
trying to do.
yeah,
What?
the extremes, but I think the aftermath of, hey, the people he killed, there's repercussions there, right? There's people who are
Well, I
like
mean,
with
there's
Abby
always
who are tied, they're going to see it one way,
yes.
right? And she's not wrong, right? In her perspective,
No,
this guy
because now
comes
she
in, kills
she
everybody, and takes the kid. You
I mean, all
uh,
she knows that this guy came in and just killed him.
exactly,
No rhyme, no
exactly,
reason, no explanation. Yeah, now, would with no explanation make it any easier? Probably
yeah.
not, because you get the details. Did he have to kill this doctor?
Probably not.
No, he could
Nah.
have just but he was just on a rampage at that point, right? Because he had mowed
So,
down, a dozen or so of the
oh man,
fireflies.
yeah.
Uh, and so what do you do? Who's right and
No,
who's wrong? There's no clear answer.
exact. And I think in its perspective, right? From one eyes, he's good. From one eyes, he, take the opposite approach. But neither one is wrong, right? You understand. Okay, now Abby, you get what she's not just going after this guy just for the shits and giggles or whatever. It's,
No, 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 no,
she's
but absolutely
justified
not.
in her
She she
actions,
she
right?
wants her
Right.
she wants her pound of flesh
Exactly. It was
because someone took someone that was important to her for no apparent
right.
reason. Now how much she knew or didn't know, I mean, that's still up for debate,
Yeah, I'm
right?
trying to
We haven't been
remember.
shown that or explained that. Did she know that he was there because they found someone to get
Yeah,
to
I
get
don't
to
think
get the
they.
corpus out
I
of their
don't think
head or
they
whatever?
did, but I think that's learned later, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a while since I played the second part of the game,
Yeah,
but
yeah. So,
yeah,
so like I said, if you know that someone was doing something that was questionable, yeah, save one person. Well, maybe kill some one person and save the world. Like, there was still no guarantee, right?
sure.
There's not like it was definitive. Oh yeah, this is
But
the
the
answer.
opportunity could have been there, and I think you from you see Ellie and their relationship now, it's strange to say least, and it goes just beyond teenage angst here. It's just like, hey, you lied to me, and that was her purpose, and you took it away from her, right?
Well,
And
I mean,
because
yeah, that was a rumor,
she
but
knows, Ellie knows this guy.
I'm
He knows, she knows.
well. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know if she knew her purpose was to die.
Well,
I
not
mean, I
not
think
not
she
die,
had.
but
Well.
yeah,
She. I mean, you say purpose. This was just by the sheer you know
mm-hmm.
chance that her mom got bitten right where she's about to be born. So it's not like this was some planned
Oh
event and
no,
this is the
no,
net
but as far
result,
as
and
like her going to
and to
Fireflies,
her
and yeah,
for them to lead her
yeah,
to believe or
yeah,
convince her that she's
she's
the
the
answer
answer,
to the
right? Right.
world. She's the only answer to the world, but they never tell her. But you need to sacrifice
Well, that
yourself.
part, no,
No one
right,
never said
exactly. But I
that,
mean, did she
right?
deserve the opportunity to know that? Perhaps,
Well,
right? Who knows?
was that is that Joel's job, or
Oh,
is that the people
I know.
convinced her that that she's the
Oh no,
answer no
but
matter
in her
what?
eyes, I think she's thinking, I never got the opportunity, and then you bullshitted me about it at the same time. So,
Well,
yeah,
well, no, that's true.
that's
That's
from
true.
her
But
side, right?
that came not just
Right,
from him. That came from the other
right,
side as well,
exactly.
where
Yeah,
they didn't say, okay, well, you're the answer, and you need to die to help us live. They didn't propose that
oh no,
solution, and
of
he
course
said,
not,
okay,
right?
well, I'll
But I
do it.
think,
I'm willing to
yeah,
do
if
that.
you would
No,
asked her, who knows what answer would have been? Um,
who knows?
maybe
Maybe she said yes.
right. That's
Okay,
what I'm saying,
so be
maybe, but at
it.
least deserve the chance to say, "Oh, wait a minute. Oh, okay, hold up, right or not, right?" And I think Joel, she
Hmm.
expected Joel to be honest with us. Like that's what they are now. They're just very strange. I think she's upset about that, and
Yeah.
eventually that does get revealed. That was a really cool scene in the game as well. But it was a good start, and the trailers they showed for look fantastic. Moving forward,
Hmm.
I'm really excited to see. I want to say episode 3. I think is where we get this big event. I'm very curious to see how they approach that. It's very brutal in the game, very brutal in the game, and how it's presented. So I'm hoping we get the same visceral experience in this one. They don't shy away from violence here as much, so I'm hoping we get that. Yeah,
No, and they
yeah,
don't shy violence even in
it's a
season
violent
one.
world. This is what
Yeah,
we're in, right? That's who it is, right? When it's mass chaos,
it's kill or be
yes,
killed
anarchy,
essentially. I
and this
think
is what
that's
happens, right? It's what there's no law here. There's no game. People are gonna get savage, to say least. But so very good start. This is an excellent show. I love the show. I think this one's gonna be great as well from all things that I've heard. So yeah, absolutely must watch again on HBO. You should go back watch the first season if you haven't. This is not Walking Dead. It's actually a legitimately good show, for sure. A thousand times better than that. That said, next week not a big week, so it's a time to catch up on some of this stuff that we talked about. We get Andor dropping 3 episodes on the 22nd. Best Star Wars show for sure, in my opinion. Excited about that one. I heard it's very good as well. We got the tragedy of another flight, Flight 3054, one over Brazil, documentary on Netflix on the 23rd.
Correct. Yeah.
You coming back on Netflix for its final season.
Final
Finally, it's
season.
been a while since we had the last one. Um,
Yeah, yeah. This is originally supposed to be part one, part two. Now they
oh, is
whether
that
to
what it
change their
is?
mind and put
Okay,
everything. They're
okay.
gonna be, yeah, yeah. Because remember this was supposed to come out like last month, and
Oh,
then
right,
they
right, right.
they did
Yeah,
the bait and
yeah.
switch, and so then now it's all the whole final season's dropping. So I've enjoyed this show.
No, it's been a good show. It's been a fun show.
Very
Yeah, for sure.
Dexter
Yeah.
like type show. I didn't watch Dexter, so I'm not sure if it's better or worse
No,
than
no,
that. But
Dexter's is
this is one I definitely
like yeah, Big
enjoyed.
Dexter's better in the show, and it's not close, but it's still a cool show, right? It's similar premise, not quite the same, right?
I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah, because
Well,
each
yeah,
one's told from the
yeah.
perspective of the killer, right? Both shows,
Mhm.
so they have the
Yes.
similarities in the narrative and or talking over the what's going on. So that's very similar. So who they choose to kill is completely different, but fair enough. Serial killer is a serial killer. What the rest is just semantics. But good show, so, and hopefully I hope it ends well. I think the show deserves a good ending. And then we got the movie on Netflix, which concerns me. Except, however, we got Tom Hardy here. Gareth Evans, of course, from the Raid franchise and Gangs of London. The new action film called Havoc. This looks bonkers. I saw the reactions that they premiered this in London last week, and so many reactions came out, and they've been stellar. I think out of the 6 or 7 that I read, about 5 of them, 6 of them said is they rewatched a certain nightclub scene, which they said it was phenomenal. It's an action scene. They said they haven't seen anything like it. Okay,
Excellent.
I mean, they could be full of shit. First reactions aren't always trustworthy.
I mean, the John Wick nightclub scene from the first movie was
Was great, of
was
course,
was
because
stellar, man. That's the one that sticks out of
it's
my
John
mind,
Wick. Hell yeah.
where he's literally one man against the whole club and going in
Yeah.
upstairs, downstairs, shooting, getting shot. I mean,
Yeah.
knifing. I mean,
No, no doubt. I mean, I love that. And, I mean,
and it
love
had
John
a
Wick.
cameo from one of our favorite wrestlers, the Big
Oh, that's
Diesel.
right. That's right.
So,
Oh, that's right. Real quick in the beginning. Yeah, yeah. Who didn't do anything. The biggest guy didn't do shit.
yeah. Well, it was a cameo,
I
dude. What do
know,
you
I know.
want him
I
to do,
guess. Don't
man?
throw punches.
Hey, he was smart enough to know when you go up against John Wick, it doesn't end well.
That is
So
fair. So
put your arms
I will
down,
give you that.
raise the white flag, and hope for the best.
Agreed. And I get it. Just for,
He's no he's no
from the
dummy.
critical perspective, it'd be cool to see him try to kick little ass. But whatever.
That's
They chose
true.
another
That's true.
giant basketball player in the third film, I think it was, that they had in there, in the library scene.
Oh
Yeah.
yes,
But
yes,
anyway,
yes,
so I
yes.
heard it's supposed to be bonkers. I'm excited about this because of who's behind it and who's in front of the camera, right? So hopefully this one hits. I'm excited. So yeah, those are the only things coming out next week. So we'll talk about those, of course, next Sunday as always. Letting you know what there's always something to watch. I don't care what anybody says, except for telenovelas like Mendoza. But that said, we'll see you guys next week. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and comment on any of the shows we may have missed or difference of opinions. We appreciate it. See you guys next week.